All right, cloud it is. Storm's coming in. Go for it.
All right. Welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters. I'm your president, Farin Jacobsen. We always like to kick it off with our mission statement. First off, it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your agenda, if you have your agenda with you. The mission statement is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Keep that in mind as we progress through our meeting. Please be gracious with me when I deliver my speech because I wrote it last night, of course. We can go over some Zoom housekeeping rules. Instead of applause, of course, we use our jazz hands. Please stop your video if you're going to move about and in your house so that you're not distracting to other members, and keep yourself on mute unless we are either called upon or in table topics when we like to have a little bit more interaction. You guys can also unmute during my speech, by the way. It's supposed to be a humorous speech, so I would like to maybe hear the laughter instead of just see it. If I make you guys laugh, we'll see if that happens. As far as business, I don't have any new business unless there's anything from my board members that I'm missing.
So there is, if you missed it, we have officer training. Let me see what category this is in. Social? Nope, it is in.
I saw the email, but I did not.
I know I saw it too, but I didn't.
Promotions. Let me see. I'm trying to find what thing it is in my. There we go. Club officer training right around the corner. So District 33 looks like January 16th, 2021. Was that Saturday? As scheduled since day one of our term, training is still scheduled on January 16th, 2021. All information, including registration, can be found at our website, which I'll put in the chat. And
so it's this coming Saturday.
So maybe I'll forward this after our meeting. I'll forward this email over to all our exec board. But this is their website. Let me get in the chat here.
Thank you, Joey.
Yep. So
what time is it, the training on Saturday?
Here's the info. It didn't say, so it might say on here.
All right.
Website, let me see. Let's see. They got a flyer there. It says Saturday, January 16th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific. And it's a Zoom event. And they got the registration link there on a little flyer.
I could possibly be there at 10. I mean, I can't stay till 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much they make you have to stay the whole time or whatever, but you can just put it on in the background, you know.
So will you send that out to us, Joey?
Yeah, I'll forward you. Well, if you click this link in the chat, the d33tm.org, it'll go to the website and it has that flyer, and on the flyer has everything in it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Joey. I knew I was going to miss something. Any other new business that I might be missing? We're good. All right. Well, with that, I will turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, Denise DiBenedetto.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year to those that haven't seen this year. I think that's just our guest today, Anna, and you. I think it's Anna. Do you go by Anna or Anita?
I get both.
Both. Okay. So welcome to your first meeting today, and like I told you before, you don't have to participate, but you're always welcome to. So you can just sit back and see how the process goes. I am the Toastmaster for today. And as the Toastmaster, my role is to be the host, guide the meeting from beginning to end. I get the honor of introducing all of our speakers for the day. And we have two really great speakers. So that will be fun for me. It is important to kind of set the tone for the meeting, and we have a theme of the day, which is the butterfly effect. That's our theme for the day. I thought about it. Of course, I think about a couple of movies that reference it. There's been books written about it, and it's basically the chaos theory, that something really small somewhere else can have an effect on something greater farther away. It's relatable, related to the weather a lot. I noticed our word for the day is pedantic. And so you could consider that a small change that makes, did I read that right? Anyway, I'm trying to go ahead of Storm's introduction of the word of the day, but maybe I'll get a chance later. But I was thinking about the butterfly effect and how you can apply it to other things like reading. So if you just start small and read a page a day, then eventually, you know, you'll end up on a level of educating yourself or just being an avid reader. If you just start small in regards to exercise, maybe you never exercise and you just decide, you know, once a week I'm going to take a walk, and then that leads to a greater, you know, I think it's relatable to a lot of things. So having said that, I really think that 2021 is not off to a great start, but if we apply the butterfly method and just make one little small change in our life towards something positive, like an act of kindness or an act of service, then I think that we can have a great 2021. So with that, I am going to introduce our general evaluator for the day, and that is Joey Myers.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, very good rendition of butterfly effect. So I'm going to introduce and I know we have one guest, so we'll go through, and we're called upon to just give a little bit of what that role entails. And if you feel like you're pedantic in the leadership role side of things, sorry, Storm, I'm just jumping ahead here just in case I don't get in later. I'm going to introduce our team, evaluation team, and I want to start with Mr. Storm Davis, who is our grammarian.
All right. I don't know how to change my background. I forgot, but our word of the day is pedantic. It is a very new word for me. You guys could hear me okay, yes? So it is the best definition that I got was imaginatively dull. So something really, really boring, kind of like learning how to do a new skill that's very boring. And I will, so that's the word of the day. I will account for everybody who uses the word of the day. Hopefully I get it as well. I see a couple of you already had it, and good luck.
Thank you, Storm. All right, our next on our leadership role list, our counter, and that is Chanel West.
Hello guys, I am the awe counter for today. That means that it will be my job to listen for any crutch words or filler words, as we call them, that you might be using while speaking. Common examples of the crutch words that we look for are or anything that you might use to fill space when you're thinking. We also look for transition words that might be overused, such as so or like or well, that tend to get drawn out when we're transitioning from one thought to another. So I will be using my razor sharp ears to listen for everybody's words today and writing them down. And then at the end of our meeting, I will give a report to each of you about how we did with using the crutch words. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. All right, last but not least, on our leadership role is Denise DiBenedetto. She's going to be doing our timer role today. You're muted, Denise. There it is.
I'm having a problem with that button. I apologize. Because I didn't remember I was timer, but no problem. I'll be ready to time those speeches and our table topics. And at the end of the meeting, I will give a report to see if we stayed within our time restraints. I believe, Sarah, you're 4 to 6 minutes since it's an icebreaker, and Farin should be 5 to 7 minutes. Of course, our table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. And also our evaluators are 2 to 3 minutes. So keep that in mind, everybody, and I'll be timing you.
Thank you, Denise. And Storm just asked how to get rid of his background, and you should be able to hover over your video, click those 3 little dots, horizontal dots, or no. Hover over your video where you can stop your video or turn it on, and it'll say choose virtual background. And then in there, you just click none. That should turn it off. Cool. Thank you, Denise, for that. And I'm your Zoom master. I'm actually last but not least. But the Zoom master is just recording the meeting, making sure that we get the screen to focus around the person who's speaking. And I will be doing that along with passing over any kind of, if somebody needs to be host or as a speaker. Farin, you're the first one, right? Do you need to be host? You don't need to be host. Okay, Sarah, do you need to be host? Do you need to do like show anything? You're good? Sweet. All right, well, my job is done. So I will pass the podium, the virtual podium, over to Denise DiBenedetto, our Toastmaster, so she can introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Joey. Our first speaker today is Farin Jacobsen. Farin is our current president, and she has completed her motivational strategies pathway and is working on her second pathway called Engaging Humor. Here to tell us about a book that has positively impacted her life is Farin Jacobsen, presenting Do You Know Your Love Language?
Thank you, Denise. Do you ever wonder if dogs have the same type of hold on.
Right on cue. That was
She
right on
wanted us to laugh.
Beautiful. It's like she wanted that to happen. I love it.
Never fails, you guys, never. All right. Redo, start it over, start the timer. Do you ever wonder if dogs have the same type of love and romance situations that humans do? Most of you know that I'm a pet sitter, and I swear I could create my own reality TV show with the antics of the pets that I watch. I have 2 regular doggy daycare clients. One is Buffy. She is a really large female pit bull. And the other one is Kenobi, who is a very small terrier mix who's afraid of everything and anyone except for me and his owner. Kenobi loves Buffy. He wants to spend every moment that he can with her. He naps right next to her when she falls asleep. He tries to give her all of the love and affection that he can, giving her kisses on her face and her ears. And Buffy could care less. But she is addicted to toys. And what I mean by addicted is she loves to shred them up, swallow them, and then eventually pass them, which I hear about from her owner. So whenever Buffy arrives at my house, I have to pick up all of the dog toys and put them away. Whenever she finds a toy that I may have missed, I have to take it away from her. And Kenobi notices this and watches and knows that Buffy cannot have toys. One day I couldn't find Kenobi. So I went down the hallway into my room and I could hear him. And I called him, Kenobi, come on, come out. And he scrambled out from underneath my bed and he had something in his mouth. I was on his right, so he tucked it into his left shoulder and started walking down the hallway right past me. And I watched him and he went over to Buffy and he revealed what he had, which was a toy in his mouth, like, hee. And Buffy was so stoked. She grabbed the toy from him. She started playing with him. They were running around. They absolutely loved each other. And I realized that Kenobi had figured out what his girlfriend's love language was. It's not physical touch. It's not quality time. She's all about getting gifts. Sorry. Unfortunately, this is not about the love life of dogs. My speech is about the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. If you haven't figured out what your love language is, you can go to his quiz online at 5lovelanguages.com and take the quiz to figure out what yours is. There are 5, like I said. They are gifts, physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, and acts of service. And these are just ways that people give and receive love. And I just want to remind everyone that it's not just about romantic relationships. You can also apply these love languages to the relationships you have with your children, your parents, your coworkers, friends, anyone who's important in your life. If you can find out what their love language is and how to express that to them, you can deeply strengthen every relationship that you have. We already went over gifts. Buffy is known for only feeling loved when she receives something. Some people are like that, whether it's something that's super expensive or just something little that shows that someone was thinking about them. The second one is physical touch. And I will never forget the person who introduced me to this book in the first place several years ago. She was a runner in my running group. She was pregnant at the time, and we were running together, venting about our husbands. And she told me, I can't believe that I married someone whose love language is physical touch. That means I have to come home and hug him every day. And I just laughed at that. And she said, maybe when this baby is born, it can give him enough hugs that he'll just leave me alone. Physical touch is also the primary love language of my partner. And I want to remind everyone that it's not just about hugs and kisses, but it can be any type of touch. I often reach for his hand while we are driving together, or I'll just rub his neck or his back when we're sitting next to each other. It doesn't have to be hugs and kisses. And this also applies to other people. Just, giving them a light touch on the arm when you're speaking to them can be very reinforcing. The next one is quality time. And this is definitely the love language of my son. The thing is, we differ about how we express our quality time. I would much rather go for a walk or a bike ride and talk to him. But he would rather drag me over to the couch, sit me down next to him, and have me watch Fortnite, where he will talk about all of the different skins that he has and narrate every single move. It might be a little pedantic for me, but I do it anyway because I want to show that I want to give him my undivided attention. Words of affirmation is the next one, and that is definitely my daughter's love language. She loves when I tell her that she did a great job on her makeup, or today it was her fake nails that she put on. She's only 10, you guys. And if she nailed that TikTok dance, she wants me to tell her about it. This is also a really good one to use with employees. When I was a manager or a supervisor in different jobs that I've held, I would often tell people how much I appreciated the work that they were doing and how valuable they were to me and to the company. And that just really affirms that I care deeply about them. And it's a good way to express love to employees who you normally wouldn't be able to physically touch or maybe spend quality time with. The fifth and last one are acts of service, and that is my favorite love language. It's how I both give and receive love. I love to cook for people. I love to just do random errands for people when I have the time. I like to research things for people if I know that they don't have the time, or I'm just a really fast researcher. It's just something that I love to do. And acts of service is the reason why I fell in love with my running buddy, actually. He, even though I'm a very independent woman and I refuse to ask for help from anybody, he has found ways to do things for me to make my life easier without me having to ask. Once you have learned all 5 of the love languages, you can greatly improve your relationships. So I really encourage everyone to go to 5lovelanguages.com and take the quiz to figure out what your love language is, and then forward that to all of your relationship people, whether that's your kids, your parents, your friends, to find out what theirs is as well, so that we can all have healthier, happier relationships in 2021. Thanks.
Yay.
Thank you, Farin. That was great.
You're
Now
welcome.
I just love the use of the dogs, and I'm an animal person, so I always appreciate any kind of reference to animals as well. Our second speaker for today is Sarah. And what I find kind of fun about today is that me, Farin, and Sarah all started at Toastmasters in 2017. So they're like my Toastmaster sisters. And Sarah always brings a lot of excitement and joy. So I'm looking forward to her speech. Sarah has already completed the Competent Communicator Manual and is now working on her first speech for the Visionary Communication Pathway. She's the executive director of Evangel Home, a homeless shelter for women and children, where she has many adventures. Her icebreaker speech is entitled, "My Life is an Adventure." Welcome, Sarah Dawson.
Thank you, Denise. I really appreciate it. I was asked one time if there were one word to describe you, what would it be? And my answer was adventure. And that is how I see life, as a big adventure. Now, adventure can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So if you will go ahead and unmute yourselves, and I would love to hear from 2 to 3 people about how, like, when you hear the word adventure, what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Traveling.
Traveling. Okay, good.
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline. All right.
Walking.
People.
Storm, say that
Ziplining.
again.
Walking long.
Meeting new people.
Go Storm. What?
Walking long distances, whether it's in the city or on the mountains or in the forest.
Nice. All right. And then Denny, what did you say?
Meeting new people.
Awesome. All wonderful answers. There's so many different ways to have adventures. A lot of times people will only think of an adventure as extreme sports, and that's definitely not always true. Adventure, by definition, is engaging in hazardous and exciting activity, especially the exploration of unknown territory. But what is hazardous to one person is not necessarily hazardous to another. To me, eating a vegetable would be hazardous. It's not to Farin. So there you go. There's lots of different things. I used to facilitate challenge courses, and you would have people go up 30 feet in the air, with ropes and different things like that. And they would send them across and that kind of thing. But one of the things that we always told them in the beginning was, you basically get to choose your own adventure. You get to choose the level at which you take that risk. So there are some people who would go up, go across, they'd come back down, and they didn't really change or learn or grow. And then there was other people who might go up 3 steps and they never thought they could go 1. In my opinion, and maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, the person who went up the 3 steps and challenged themselves learned far more than the person who went up and across and came back down and technically the activity. And I think, to me, that's what adventure is figuring out what that is, and it's a time to learn and grow and to find new things. Because when you step out into the unknown, it's terrifying and fearful, which I still am very fearful of a lot of things. But coming into Toastmasters, for instance, stepped out into the unknown, and now we get to learn and grow and be able to do my job and even better. Well, what's the next thing I was going to talk about? Oh, yes, I remember. I think when I was talking about the learning and the growing, I want to grow as a human, and I also want to grow in my relationship with God. Those are probably the 2 most very important things for me, is to grow as a human and grow in my love for God. I would like to just give you a couple of snapshots of how these things have kind of transpired in my life. So in college, I took a class. It was an adventure and leisure studies class. And in there, they made you do 3 things that you had never done before. I went skydiving for the first time. That was super exciting. I went to a nightclub, which I had never gone to before. It was super interesting. I will never do it again, but it was interesting for the first time. And I also went whitewater rafting, which also led to, and that one, I've never wanted to go skydiving again. It was fine to do once, but whitewater rafting, I love being in the water. And that led to later in my life, a few of you have heard this story before, I became a guide. And for that day, my friend was there and she's like, "Hey, do you want a guide?" And I said, "Sure, let's do this." I got through this really challenging rapid perfectly. I called out the signs, I told everybody what to do, and we got through there in splendid fashion. Then we get to the part where you're just drifting down the river and we're coming up, and it came to this rock that was like right in the center. I could go to the right, I could go to the left, either would have been fine, and I chose neither. Because I'm like, well, which one is best? I don't know. And so I froze up. And so I learned stuff about me that day, that when things are intense and it's a challenge, I'm like focused and super into it. But when it's lollygagging and kind of all around, I'm like, and then I hit the rock, and that's when I get destroyed. So the second time that I really like to see it, somebody I think had mentioned it earlier about traveling. And there was one time when I went to Rwanda for a missions trip. This woman, I don't know if you guys know too much about Rwanda, but they had just been through a genocide about 10 years before that. And then they had several other wars before that. I got to hear the story of this woman. And before I heard her story, they were singing and praising God. And I don't know if you ever see their dances, but they kind of go like this. And so she was just dancing and full of joy. And she was immediately my favorite person. I didn't understand any of the words they were saying, but I just loved seeing her. And I think that's another way, like on adventures, you get to learn lots of other people. You get to see new cultures and see new places, and you get to learn and be challenged. So afterwards, I wanted to talk to this woman, but of course we don't speak the same language. And so I was trying to use the Rwandan word for God, and remember what it is. And so I was God and pointing to the sky, and she was saying God and pointing to her heart. And she'd point to God again. I'd say God, and she'd point to her heart again. And I thought, oh, we're not understanding each other. But later on, I looked back on that and I thought, that woman, so this woman's story, she had lost her entire family in the first war. She started a new family and lost her entire second family in the second war. And she was still full of joy. And that joy, God was right here close to her. It was in her heart. And I have never forgotten that, and it's changed me, because I used to think of God as just, he's watching over us and he's nice and he's a good guy. But that's when I really learned that he was like with me all the time. And so that's why I love adventures and traveling to places, because you get to learn so much different things about yourself and about others. And then the third thing, I really love seeing people do things that they've never done before. I want to do things that I've never done before, and I want to see other people do it. And when I was working as a therapist, time's up. I'm gonna still tell you anyway. Is that okay? I was working as a therapist, and I had a bunch of people, like a bunch of my coworkers, they're all therapists. They've gotten all these master's degrees and all these kind of things, but several of them had never been to Yosemite. And to me, you live this close, I couldn't imagine how you'd never gone to Yosemite. So I decided I was going to take them up to Vernal Falls, and it's a pretty challenging hike. It's 1.5 miles up and 1.5 miles back, and it's all uphill one way. There's a little bit of downhill, but it's pretty much all uphill. So it was a challenge. There were 3 women that I took that day, and when they got to the top and got to see all of that beauty, it was something that they were just so amazed. And I know they took it back with them. One woman in particular, afterwards, she started going on, like, she had never done anything like that before. She'd never gotten out of her comfort zone, just kind of stayed where she was, went to school, did everything. She ended up going by herself to Malaysia to visit a friend, all on her own, because of, just getting out and like, okay, adventure is okay. You did it within reason and that kind of thing. So it was just really, really fun to be able to see people do things that they've never done before. And that's basically my heart. I love adventure. There's more stories I could tell you, but you'll have to wait till next time. But I hope I will leave you with, you get to choose your own adventure, and I hope that you will pick it. And I am so glad that you have joined me in my life on this adventure in Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I think everyone will agree with me that, Sarah, you have that same joy no matter what type of speech you're giving. You just emit that. I know you've heard it a million times. We think of you with like sunshine and a bouncing ball. But you always just do such a great job, and your passion is so real. You're a genuine person. So thank you. That was great.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
It was just when you said the sunshine. So there was one day at work, I was just having a really bad day several years ago. And the girl's like, "You're not supposed to be sad." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Everybody gets sad." She's like, "You're not, you're my sunshine." Like,
I know that's true for people that are that way, that sometimes they, people have high expectations, and they don't know what to do when you're in a down mood, which we all have. It's so normal. But yeah, that's cute, Sarah. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to our table topics. And our table topics master for today is Brent Paulson. What do you have for us today, Brent?
Thank you. I'm trying to get the table topics to post here, but anyway, table topic master slates a question and topic, and then calls on members or a guest at random to a response, working off the topic of the butterfly effect, where one change can result in a large difference in future endeavors. Question 1, what is one item in your life that you wondered what would have happened? What one item in your past happened that put you in the position that you are now that was unexpected? Or two, describe a situation of a historical event that affected the outcome of the situation. So an example for number one would be something that happened in my life that was unexpected. A few years ago when I worked for a former company, I interviewed for the claims manager position in Fresno and did not get it, which was really not good. I was pretty heartbroken about it, but the good Lord works in mysterious ways, and a competitor company came to me a few years later, and I was able to get the territory manager position at a higher salary, which looking back at it, we wouldn't have been able to have afford several things that we do now. And then on number two, a historical event that has affected the outcome. I look at, say, the American Revolution. George Washington had soldiers that were about ready to, whose enlistment were about ready to end, and he crossed the Delaware and took Trenton, which stoked all the soldiers' attitudes, and many of them re-upped their listing. So those are a few examples. Would anybody like to try those?
I'll go. Okay, so 20 years ago, my mom, my brother, and I were on our way home from Awanas, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it was a group from church where kids were able to get together and learn about God. And we were on our way home, and you know, my mom, she's like, "What is that in the road?" She thought she saw baby squirrel. She's like, "I've never seen a baby squirrel before." And we got closer and we're like, "Oh my gosh, your baby kitten." So my mom, being the animal lover that she is, she, stops in the middle of the road, and thank goodness it was late at night. And she scoops up this baby kitten, and then she turns, she's like, "There's another baby kitten." So she scoops up the other, and she's got these two baby kittens in her lap. And thank the Lord, we were just like across, one more turn and we're home. And that one of those kittens became my best friend. And, it was that perfect timing where, I've been begging my parents to have, a cat, and I wanted to show that responsibility and how much I wanted it. And she became mine, and her name was Tigger. Mm-hmm. And a couple days ago, she finally passed away. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cry. But 20 years is a long time, and I think about how if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have had my best friend. And I'm so thankful for that. And you talk about these butterfly effects, and she really impacted my life in a lot of ways, and I'm so thankful for her. And this October would have been 20 years, and I know how blessed I am to have had her for those 19. And I think every day for my mom stopping and thinking that it was a baby squirrel, because it was the best thing that happened. And I'm just so thankful for that. And that is something that, I wouldn't change. And I'm just so thankful for. So.
Thanks for sharing, Heather.
Yay.
Janelle, have you had any things that you'd like to share?
Okay. I can answer the first question. What is something in my life that happened in the past to change where I am now? And I've told this story before. It was the first speech that I gave when I joined Toastmasters, about how I went on a 9-day backpacking trip in Missouri. And I had never done anything like that before. I never really been into hiking or been athletic or into exercise of any kind. So it was really a grand adventure. And choosing to do that trip has launched me into other adventures and doing more hiking, getting into more running and other types of exercises since then. So that is something that happened in the past that has influenced where my life is today.
Great. Anybody else?
I could volunteer.
Storm.
All right. So I'm going to go with the first one. What's item in my life that had changed something that happened in my past that changed my life? For me, hands down, it is books. Yeah, I hate reading books. When I have a book in front of my eyes, it's kind of like my eyes like go in and out of focus, and then I'm thinking about how I will go over maybe half a page and I'll be daydreaming, and I think, man, this is just a pedantic book, and I can't read. I can't do this. How will I do this? So I found audiobooks. So it's the same information. You could speed it up and slow it down. So there's one event that I could say, if I had books when I was maybe 18, my life would be so much different. I would be in a different city. I would be in New York right now, and maybe in another country. The possibilities of the information I get from books is so life-changing. I think it should be in school. I started off with law of attraction. I had a rough childhood. And so it was like, hey, you actually could like take control and think about what you want, and then you will only see opportunity. So all I saw was, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. There's one guy, his name is Les Brown. He labeled himself very, very well. I look up to him. He's a politician. They deemed him mentally challenged from a very young age. I feel that we connect very well and we have similar backgrounds, but I feel he is a much better public speaker than I am. So I touched on books and how they changed my life, and I think that there's something that will change everybody's life, because you can learn from other people's mistakes and learn to take risks that are not so scary, like traveling.
Great, that sounds good. I know we're slated to end this topic at 12:43, so with that being said, I'll turn it back over.
I'm going to introduce our evaluators one at a time. Farin's evaluator today was Denny. So please welcome Denny Mason.
Good job, Farin. I love when you smile and you're relaxed and you are funny. 5 love languages is a great topic because it applies to everyone. And throughout the speech, everyone's sort of waiting to get to their love language, whatever that may be. So you kept our attention right from the beginning. First of all, of course, we're all dog lovers around here. So just it's almost like you made your dog bark on cue. That was good. You got us laughing even before you started your speech and then restarted your speech. But I really think you did that on purpose. Buffy and Kenobi, we have a deeper understanding of them and their relationship to each other, their love relationship. And you did a great job by describing in detail the toys and how they give them to each other, the whole love language thing. You did a great job on that. And at the same time that you were giving us the speech, you were telling us things that were actually applicable in life besides dogs, like appreciation of employees, appreciation of our spouse, things like that. So I appreciate that while you were adding humor into your speech, you were also educating us on several different things and guiding us towards a website that we could look into it further if we wanted to. When I think of you, Farin, over the years, I think of you as being a little bit on the serious side. And I love when you're relaxed and laughing, because you have a great sense of humor, you have a great smile, and I think anybody that sees you smile feels relaxed right away. So I love that you're going down this path. It's really great. And I think that's it. I think that we got everything there. If there were anything that would improve the speech, would be at the very end, you could leave us with a laugh. But the whole message was good. I loved everything. You left us with a website. But on the topic of humor, you could leave us with a laugh. And that was it. But you did a great job. I really look forward to seeing more speeches from you where you're making me laugh. And you have so much material to work with just with Buffy and Kenobi. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny.
Denise. Thanks, Denise. That was the handoff right there. You saw the silent handoff. So at this point, I will bring up Sonia, who evaluated Sarah's speech. So Sonia, take it away.
Thank you, Joey. Sarah, I just wanted to say, you are just so bubbly. Just everything, just the way you were describing everything about your speech and adventure. And I loved how you defined adventure and you asked everybody, like you included us in your speech, wanting to know what adventure meant to us. I really love that. I also love that you explained how you stepped into the unknown, joining Toastmasters in 2017. And at one point after you explained that, I thought you were done with your speech because it sounded like you were. And then you just like, oh, and then you just went on to this other topic. But you know what? I loved it because you were talking about whitewater rafting, and you didn't like the nightclubs and skydiving, and the whole time you were just bubbly with a smile on your face. And I really like that about you, your energy, just smiling and just sharing your stories and what adventure is. And I loved how you said, I know I'm out of time, but I'm still going to tell this story about, Yosemite. And I really enjoyed hearing that. And, I just really, really want to thank you so much for just, sharing that story about that woman in Africa. And you're trying to say God, and she's like, no, but right here. And I really loved how you captured that story, that this woman had been through so much, like she'd been through so much loss and heartache, and yet she just was filled with joy. And I loved how you shared that with us, because we're all going through something, and that's just a great reminder to the rest of us that we can find joy in whatever is happening. And so I just want to thank you very much for that speech. And I look forward to hearing more great speeches from you. And I also want to try some cookies, because Joey always talks about your cookies, but I never tried them. So there you go, Miss Dawson.
I'll have to bring you some.
Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, Sarah's cookies are great. At some point, if we can get back in person, maybe she'll grace us with some awesome Dawson cookies. All right. Thank you so much, Sonia, for that evaluation. Now we will start. I'm going to start from the bottom, so give maybe a couple people who haven't used the word of the day that chance. So I'm going to wait on Storm. So first I wanted to bring up Denise DiBenedetto to give us our timer report.
Thank you. Farin, you did great. You were right there where you should be. You 6 minutes and 23 seconds. And I tried to adjust a little bit for the puppy interruption, but honestly, you couldn't have planned that better, Farin. It's like, it just was perfect timing and made everybody laugh. It was really cute. So great job. And Sarah, you went a little bit over, about 7 minutes, 20 seconds. But let's remember that Sarah has been around for a while. So typically when someone's doing an icebreaker speech, it's their first speech ever with Toastmasters. And it's really kind of hard to even stay up there for the 4 minutes. Sarah had a lot to say, so it's not going to be count against her. And then we had our table topics. Heather, you were just a little over a minute. No, I'm sorry. You were about 1 minute and 59 seconds or something. I forgot to write it down, and then my app on my phone sucked it up and I couldn't see it anymore. Chanel, you were at 59 seconds. Storm, you were right at 2 minutes. And Denny, your evaluation was 2 minutes and 42 seconds. And Sonia, your evaluation was at 2 minutes, 24 seconds. So everybody did a great job.
Thank you, Denise, for that kindly report. And then our next kindly report is our counter report from Chanel West.
Is the counter really supposed to be kind, though? Is that part of the job description?
Unkindly, sorry.
I will start with our 2 speeches today. You guys both did a really good job. Your speeches certainly were not pedantic in any way. Farin, I caught 4 uhs from you throughout the whole thing. Overall, you were really, really clear, though. And 2 of the uhs were right at the same time. I noticed that the uhs can kind of stack up if we're stumbling on explaining a certain concept or grasping for a certain word. They tend to start stringing together. We get kind of caught up on them. Sarah, what I caught from you were a few you knows and so's, which I think are really common in informal language because that's how we talk, right, in our daily lives. So I think it's good to practice being able to use the more formal language that doesn't include those. Denise, as Toastmaster, you had a few uhs and ums in there that I caught, which I think that you are also aware of when that happens. Joey, I didn't catch anything from you. Dang it. Let's see. Storm, you did really well on both your grammarian report and your table topics. I want to give snaps for you because you've like improved like 500% since you first joined Toastmasters. I caught like 1 the whole time, so you did a really good job. I had a couple of uhs in my own table topics because Brent had to call me out on the spot and I couldn't really think of anything to say. So thank you for that, Brent. I need more practice. Heather, I think you just had 1 in your table topic, so you did really well. Miss Denny, you had 1 and then a few drawn out ands. I think the ands were kind of substituting for the uhs and the ums when transitioning from thoughts. And then Sonia, in your evaluation, you had a few you knows, likes, and so's as well, kind of that informal speaking language. But overall, good job, everybody.
Well done, Chanel. Thorough. Maybe we'll call it your thorough guidance when we announce our counter. Thorough. Yeah, very good. All right, Storm, give it to us. How many of us use the word of the day?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Hep.
I'm sorry to be not very pedantic this time around. I was a little emotional. I just want to clarify the passing of my kitty cat literally just happened on Sunday. So just so you know, that's why I wasn't very pedantic for this table talk speech.
Heather, you're good. Emotion is the big thing. If we're not telling the story, then other people, we don't give them a chance to learn from it. So we love emotion in this, even from us guys. Storm, Brent, even from us guys, emotion's okay. So it was good. Thank you for sharing, and so sorry for your loss.
Heather, I'm so sorry.
All right, Storm, how'd we do?
All right. Today's meeting was very interesting. I think that several of us got it. I did not catch Denise. No. Who opened? Who's Toastmaster of the day was
Denise?
I did. I tried to use it. I was going with the first definition, but I wouldn't give me full credit because I didn't use it properly. So, but thank you for acknowledging me, Storm.
Yeah, so Denise got it. I did not write it down. I am a little bit disorganized today. So Joey, you got it right off the bat. So Denise, you got it right off the bat too. Even if it's half credit, I still count it. I heard the word. This meeting is everything but pedantic. Chanel got it. Heather got it twice. I know you have love for your cat and best friend. I love cats as well. And it's so sad, but those are 20 beautiful years. The good, the bad, the ups and downs. And I think that's everybody for the word of the day. Thank you for everybody who participated. Good luck next time. Who will join us next meeting?
I think Farin got it too in her speech.
Got it.
Yeah, Farin worked it in.
She did? Forgive me, Farin.
You're good, Storm. That's what we're here for, right? All these leadership roles, and we're getting better in them. And sometimes it's hard because we have such great speeches or table topics or evaluations. Sometimes if we have a leadership role like timer or grammarian, it's hard to catch a lot of times because you're doing different things, and especially if you got a couple different roles like Denise. And when you blow up your fuse because your microwave and your tomato soup, we can all give Denise a break. Although she might have done it on purpose so she didn't have to work because it shut down her computer. Who can blame her? So I'll just give a general eval of the meeting, and I'll pass it back over to our president. I think we did well. We started on time. I think we're going to end on time, especially if I end on time. And from our speeches to table topics and our evaluations, I think we did great. Went right to our little bottom three of the agenda, our motto or credo, whatever you want to call it. I think we stuck to that pretty well, and I think we have a pretty good crew here and helping us all to grow in our journey of leadership and communication. So Farin, back to you.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, awesome meeting today. We did have one guest. She's gone now, but she will come back, she said in the chat. So that's pretty great. Let's see, virtual stickers go to the speakers, myself, and Sarah. Sorry, I couldn't find you in my Brady Bunch pictures right here. Good job, Sarah, on your speech. And also to double duty roles. So Joey, you're both Zoom Master and General Eval today. And then Denise for being Toastmaster and Timer. And you forgot you were a timer, but you got it in there. So good job. And are there any birthdays coming up? Still no birthdays, no January birthdays. All right. Well, we'll skip over to next week's agenda and fill that out. January 19th, we're meeting. The theme is I Have a Dream. Do we have anyone who would like to be Toastmaster that day? No?
I'll do it.
Sonia.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, I have speakers Chanel and Taylor. Chanel, are you still good with that? Okay, and then Taylor, we'll just assume so. Heather, you did cancel your speech today. Did you want to move to next week, or do you want a different date?
I'll just do not this one, but the following one. So yeah, I'll wait just one more week, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. Evaluators for Chanel and Taylor. Denny?
I can do one.
Sarah?
Or Denise can. Or I think Denise raised your hand too. I'll do whatever. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, Sarah's taking it. Denise, what would you like? Table topics?
You can give me table topics, sure.
Okay. Awesome. General evaluator? Anybody?
Brent, you want to try it? You look like you got that light bulb
I
going.
didn't know if I qualified for it.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
so. Yeah. The only ones evaluator, I think you have to have 3 speeches given, but general eval you can do, I think.
Cool. Grammarian?
I can pick that one up, Farin. Oh, yeah, let Heather do that one.
Oh, Heather. Okay.
Yeah, let her do it.
There is grammarian. Joey, do you want on counter, timer, Zoom master?
Put me into timer, please.
All right. All counter? I'll do it. That's my favorite thing. Zoom master. Chanel, did you want to try that again?
I don't mind doing it, but I am speaking.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you don't, yeah, probably not. Zoom.
But I'm very happy to do it the next time.
Okay. I'll put you down for the next one. Anyone else like to try Zoom master? Or I can do it, it's fine. All right, I'll do it. I think we're good. January 26th, we have speakers Denny, Joey, and Heather. Is everyone still good with that? Good. Denny? Yeah, okay. Perfect.
I'm sorry. Was it? Oh, sorry. Next week's the 19th. Sorry.
Yeah, I have you down for January 26th. So 2 weeks. Cool. All right, I think we're good to go. See you next week.
Great meeting, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.